Wow, this is the biggest crowd I've had yet, for sure. Thank you all for being here, for your roles and everything that's culminated in this moment, whether you're a reader or writer or publisher. It's definitely an honor to be here. I'm going to give you just a brief sentence to let you know what Lamb is about in case you're not familiar with it. 55-year-old David Lamb, divorced, lost his job, at the end of his rope, needs to tell himself a new story about who he is so he can believe in his own decency again. And his path crosses with Tommy, who's a somewhat neglected 11-year-old girl, not many friends. They both need each other. And eventually he convinces her to go west with him on a road trip, which is, by any legal definition, completely an abduction, but he's ready and willing to go. So the passage I'm going to read to you is from outside of Chicago. They're actually just around the Iowa border. He slowed down and steered the truck onto the shoulder and put it in park. "What are we doing?" "I'm going to tell you something really important," he said. "Are you listening?" He reached into his front pocket and pulled out a handful of coins. He sorted them and held up a penny. He turned it over in his hand. "What year were you born?" 1996. I was 44 years old. Whoa. Don't say that. Don't say whoa. Makes me feel like I should take you back home. She slid her hands beneath her bottom and tipped her head. "What were you doing back then?" He stopped turning the penny and looked at her. "I might tell you sometime," he said, as if he were surprised to be saying it. "Okay." "Tommy, do you know how much a stamp costs?" Like 50 cents. In 1952, Tommy, a first-class stamp cost a man 3 cents. Wow. In 1952, Tommy, the United States federal government spent about $68 billion total. He looked at her. "That doesn't mean anything to you, does it?" "Not really. We need to do a better job learning about the world around us." "Don't do that. Jesse does that." "Does what?" "Says we when you mean me." He put his hands in his lap. "You're right. I'm sorry." She shrugged. "Oh, shrug it off. That's great, Tommy. Get real good at shrugging. That girl, she's a shrugger. Nothing gets to her." She looked at him sideways and rolled her eyes. "No, Tommy, it hurts my feelings that you shrug and roll your eyes, that you talk like you're already grown up, that you don't know about 1952. I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to tell you something important." "Sorry." "Christ, the people your age. There isn't a wild place left on the planet for you. There isn't a code of decency or manners left for you to break. And what do? You shrug." He took her hand and turned it over and pressed the penny into it. "Your piece of the year I was born. Don't lose it. That might be all you get." She looked at the penny in her hand. "I'm sorry." "Someday," he said, "we'll rent a trailer, Tommy, you and me, a silver one, just like it was 50 years ago. And you'll be 17 and we'll put you in a long skirt and tie your hair back with a dotted yellow scarf and drive across the country, from ice cream stand to ice cream stand. We'll map it out just right so that every city we hit is in the peak of springtime. Cool wind and green puddles and white blossoms and all of that. Bright sun and rain shaking out of the trees and new birds and you in your yellow scarf. Will you pick me up at school?" "In a silver trailer." "Deal." "Listen, Tom, can I ask you a serious question?" "What?" "Yes or no?" "Yeah." "You haven't hooked up with a boy, have you?" Her skin went pink behind her freckles. "You maybe lied to Sid or Jenny and said you did, but you never really did you?" She shook her head. "Good," he said, "because that's a big deal. The biggest deal. And listen, I want you to hear me in case you're having funny thoughts. I am not going to kiss you. It's my way of honoring you. Do you understand? It's my way of honoring 1952 and the little cabin out there we're going to and the river." "That's all real?" "What do you mean? The cabin and the river? Isn't that where we're going, Tommy?" "I mean the shop with the pickle jar, the horse. That's all pretend." "It's all real, Tommy." For real, for real? I'm not a liar." "Me either." "Good, I know you're not. You sometimes talk funny, but you're basically a pretty good girl, aren't you?" "Yeah, I know," he said. "Hey, where's that penny?" She opened her hand and he took the coin, put it on the end of his thumb and pressed it to the center of her forehead. "Ouch!" Shh, he pressed hard. There, he said. The year I was born printed right on your beautiful freckled forehead. She touched it, but couldn't make it out. Can you feel it? Yeah. Heads or tails, tell me. She felt again. Heads. It's tails, he grinned. Know what that means? It means you win. No, he said. No, Tom, don't think of it that way. He smiled. Beside the truck, a semi hurtled past, then another. I'll tell you what it means. It means you're my good luck. And I sort of knew it the minute I saw you. Thanks.